Significant development in the US House of Representatives. 3 Republicans broke ranks with their party to vote with Democrats against a measure that would have extended a pre-judicial moratorium on votes to overturn President Trump's tariffs. The vote, which ended with a narrow 214 to 217 outcome, means the House can now consider resolutions to terminate the national emergency declarations that Trump used to justify sweeping tariffs, including those in Canada. The 3 Republicans who crossed party lines were Reps Thomas Massie of Kentucky, Kevin Kiley of California, and Don Bacon of Nebraska. Their vote blocked a rule that would have kept the moratorium in place through to July 31st, preventing any challenges to those tariffs for the time being. House GOP leaders, including Speaker Mike Johnson, had pushed for the extension, arguing that it would allow time for the Supreme Court to rule on a case involving the president's use of the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to impose tariffs. However, Democrats are now poised to force votes, starting with one targeting tariffs on Canada, which happens to be a key US trading partner. We are now being joined again by Mark Sutherland, who is a geopolitical commentator, joining us from London. Thank you so much for joining us back here and speaking to us on NewsX World. What happened in this House vote, and why did those 3 Republican lawmakers join the Democrats to block the rule shielding Trump's tariffs?
I don't know all the 3 individuals that you mentioned, but I'm very aware of Massie. What is also interesting has been brought in here, which is Canada, the Prime Minister of Canada, and having some dear friends up there. They are no fans of him, and nor am I, frankly. Where the fact is that the man said, "Oh, I can take on Donald Trump in regard to tariffs, etc." Carney needs to pay more attention in regard to the economy as of his own country and seeing that fired up. And in regard to Alberta, really needs to go full bore in regard to producing oil there and oil out of the sands. I will say this is in my humble opinion, and as I say, 2 of the names I don't know, but Massie I do. That maybe part of this is also the fact that there is their own particular war with President Trump and some of the decisions that he makes and who he backs that they then disagree with. Massie is one in regard to the Trump administration standing foursquare with Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel, and that is a bit of an issue for Massie, and that sometimes his confusion is he needs to look at the facts on the ground, but there is a concern that he has in regard to what he perceives of the investment of America and the financial support of Israel. What he needs to understand, especially in regard to defense contracts, is that when they are giving money to Israel defensively, all that money is then spent inside for American companies within the military industrial complex of America, and also the amount of information that American companies then gain by the IDF, Israeli forces, then exercising that technology. It's a subject for another day, but I actually think it's down to personality clashes and disagreement potentially over issues that I've just outlined. Ellie.
And how does this crossover vote, broader divisions with the Republican Party over Trump's tariff policies and their economic impact on the US consumers and businesses?
Well, the other thing is that we can easily argue, and there is concern about the American economy, because as much as people are saying, well, we want to be number one in AI, the thing about AI and robots is that they do remove humans, us, out of the workforce and the marketplace. That is a challenge. Also, the fact that it comes down to this politically, the Trump administration, America wants to be number one, the number one hegemony, and does not want to see China take that position at all. So that, as I have commented a number of times on this, that is the Trump administration's main concern, is looking at what China is doing. And also, as we now know with what's happening, what has happened in Israel, but what is happening now in Iran, is how all various countries then cross over there, especially in regard to Russia as well. The big thing for the Trump administration has been about getting companies that have left America from a production point of view. The headquarters may be still there, but to get those jobs back. That is what this has also been about as well. And some people have felt that those tariffs that he has used to negotiate with people are not benefiting the American worker. They're actually harming them. That is a huge bigger debate, and to go through the figures of that, especially like in the past, when you've then turned around to Swiss companies to say, and in regard to making pharmaceuticals to bring the price down, you then need to move your manufacturing from Switzerland to America. This kind of thing has been going on, but other people have different opinions in regard to the tariffs. But it's also, Ellie, a world view. There is a big fight where people are turning around and saying there are many people that want isolationism in regard to America, where the other view is, well, people may not like us being the world policeman, but there are times that we have to stand up for what people believe is right in regard to freedom and libertarian values. Ellie.
Thank you, Mark. Don't go too far, as we will be back with you very shortly. In US, a grand jury has declined to indict a group of Democratic lawmakers who participated in a controversial video, urging military and intelligence personnel to defy illegal orders. The video was released in November, followed President Trump's decision to carry out a deadly boat strikes in the Caribbean. The lawmakers argued that military personnel should uphold their oath to defend the Constitution. Despite President Trump's calls for prosecution and severe punishment, the grand jury decided not to proceed with the indictment, citing a lack of legal grounds. Meanwhile, the Justice Department had investigated the lawmakers for allegedly violating a law that prohibits interference with the military's morale and loyalty. The lawmakers have condemned the attempts to intimidate and charge them, claiming that this case was politically motivated. They affirmed their commitment to speaking out against what they view as an abuse of power by Trump administration. We are now being joined again by Mark Sutherland. Thank you so much for joining us back here. What did the 6 Democratic lawmakers say in their video about illegal orders, and why did this trigger such a Justice Department investigation?
If we're referring to the boats that were accused of having narcotics that are coming out of Venezuela and that region, there was deep concern that American military took action on those boats and sunk them, blew them up, where people were turning around and saying, well, those boats should have been arrested. They should have been pursued, and then people put on trial. Then all the facts and in regard to lawmaking would have come forward to say, where is the evidence of the drug running? I will say this, Ellie, that again, you have to go back in history. I refer to a book written in 1990 by Rachel Ehrenfeld called Narco-Terrorism. This has been going on for a long time, particularly as she she writes during the mid 80s, if not the early 80s, and the concern of the Trump administration, Adele, of the amount of drug running that's going on in their backyard, and Hezbollah are involved, Hamas are involved within that, because that's how they then finance operations. And of course, without being too controversial, we would then turn around and say that the CIA has also done the same, and the whole situation with Ollie North under Reagan was also a very, very interesting case to then look at. But that is part of this, and the concern was, you're going to take boats out, you're going to fire on, and you're saying that this evidence is there, but where is it? I believe, if I have my facts right, my humble opinion on that, was all part of this. Because if people are saying we are a country of laws, that to some is then pushing that to then the limit. The other issue is, like I've just said, when I referred in history, is all these facts are real. All these facts need to be put on the table. And also under the Biden administration, on the southern border and also up north as well, there has been all this drug running and the fentanyl that has come over, and how that sadly has had a huge effect on American citizens, and to some in regard to causing 100,000 deaths in recent history. That is extremely sad. So when you don't want those deaths, then you're going to start cutting down on, you do whatever you can in regard to stopping the drug running and the drugs coming into your country. Ellie.
Thank you, Mark. Don't go too far, as we will be back with you very, very shortly. That's all we have time for. Keep watching NewsX World for more news updates from around the world.